Welcome to the Get Out In It podcast, keeping our mental and physical well-being balanced by heading out into nature and doing stuff.
The activity isn't important. Walk, run, hike, bike, whatever it is, just find something you enjoy and get out in it. The point of this podcast is to show how ordinary people can achieve extraordinary levels of health and fitness.
Out here, we'll share informal, inclusive advice for anyone trying to improve their mental and physical well-being, based on our own experiences and professional knowledge from our special guests.
So let's lace up and get out in it.
And here we are, better late than never, and what a week it has been. Welcome to episode 32. How are you, Maria Herring?
What a week.
Yeah, what a 3-week period it has been, because we dropped the ball slightly, didn't we?
We did.
It's been seamless to this point, but then there was some chaos.
I think the last episode that went out was end of November.
Yeah. Basically, there was moving house, wasn't there?
I moved house.
All that entails. And as much as you think, it's only going to be a day and a half max, there's a lot that comes with that process that kind of steps on other bits of life. So we had to let the podcast go for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So sorry to everyone for our absence, but there we go.
We are back now. This week this is going to be the end of season special, so we're gonna have a bit of a reminisce and a summarize of all the bits and pieces and all the people we've talked to and all the salient points that we can remember throughout this first season of Get Out in It. And then we're going to have a bit of a Christmas break, aren't we? And we'll be back for season 2 in early 2024. So keep an eye on your feeds. Don't delete us, because we're still coming. We're just going to have the standard podcasting Christmas break. But before we get to that nice, homely, by the fire Christmas with some nutmeg juice or whatever you have at Christmas, coffee, mulled wine, mince pies, and all the other bits and pieces. I need to ask you what you've done this week to get out in it.
Got out in it. Well, this week to get out in it, I've been mostly on my bike, because where I live now is a lot further away from where I work. So most of my getting out in it has been on a bike, weirdly enough, going to and from. And that's quite some cycling, because it goes like that. People can't see that, but I'm basically doing a sine wave, which is what it looks like around where I live. So that's been my getting out in it. And I did a really silly thing this week, James.
What did you do?
Did a very silly thing. I kind of backloaded all of my running to the end of the week and fucked myself right up for the weekend.
So are you super fatigued today? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, absolutely fucked. Because what happened? I can't remember. We've had a fuck ton of rain. And because normally I do a rest day on a Monday, speed runs on Tuesday, but I didn't for some reason. I can't remember. It was probably raining. So instead I did those on Thursday, which was supposed to be an easy run. But I did speeds on Thursday, and then I did hill repeats on Friday after I did my sports in the park, which was the end of term for my ladies. So I did a really brutal session with them, and I was so fucked. And I was supposed to do a long run today, and I didn't do it.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't do my long run.
In discussion with your coach, we decided it was best to just ease back off and give yourself the rest, didn't we?
Yeah, because the other thing was, on the Friday evening, I had I was supposed to teach a student in my ex-village, and I couldn't bring myself to ride my bike again. So I walked. So on the Friday, I did sports in the park and then hill repeats. And then I walked about there and back again. It's about 8 kilometers. It was a mental day. It was a mental fucking day. So yeah, I was knackered yesterday. Didn't do my long run today. I've pushed that to tomorrow. So yeah, it's been a bad week.
You've been doing quite a bit of getting out in it though, haven't you? Because the bike riding counts. You know that, don't you? It's cross training.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really. There's someone whose name I don't remember, and I don't even know if they're. I don't even know. But anyway, I read somewhere or heard somewhere or maybe scrolled somewhere that if you are active for work, that doesn't count as training. So I never include my bike rides as training
Then that
because it's
person
for
is an
work.
idiot. Any amount of movement and activity is a good thing. It may not be tailored towards what you're training for, but it is movement,
Mm,
it's activity, it's good for you. It's a benefit,
yes.
it's a good thing.
Okay.
Movement or activity for work doesn't count. That's like saying car calories don't count, you know? It's
You always say that.
I do say that, but I know it's not true.
So yeah, I was a bit fucked yesterday, but I also think because I've been living in this new place now for a couple of weeks, and I think the all of the cycling on top of all of my regular training, and also there's been a lot of rain this last fortnight, and I've been kind of smooshing all of my training runs together
Mm.
on in moments when it's been dry, and I think I burnt myself out a little bit with the move and then the fucked up training and then the constant cycling and everything. So yeah, it's
The
been a bit
move weekend was dramatically tiring.
it snowed as well.
Mm,
Do you remember on Saturday?
mm. It was
Fucking
dramatically
cold, man.
tiring. Just constantly move. Well, the day escapes you before you've even had chance to consider the fact that you've got loads to do. It's 6 in the evening and you've still got loads to do.
So my advice to anybody who is planning on moving house, don't move house just before Christmas. It's a mental thing to do. It's completely mental.
It is indeed.
Wait
It
till
is
the new
indeed.
year.
It is indeed.
But anyway, enough about me and my poor show of getting out in it. What have you done this past 3 weeks to get out in it?
Not a huge amount. I'm still rehabbing my other hip now. It is easing considerably and it's getting better, but I'm doing some mobility work. I haven't been able to do any running. I miss running. It makes me sad that I'm not running a lot, but I will be back as soon as I've got this hip thing under control. But as you know, and the listeners don't, most of my getting out in it for the last 3 days has been on 3 consecutive Christmas do's that I've been on. And for reasons much less healthy than your own,
That
I am
cannot
feeling
count.
I am feeling very, very fatigued. I think I walked across Bristol on Thursday night. If that's any, that's getting out in it, isn't it? I was
Yeah,
on my way
but
back to Temple Meads where I was staying in an Airbnb.
that cannot count. If you're eating a fuck ton of food and drinking all the fucking booze, that cannot count as getting out in
It
it.
doesn't count, but it's as close as I've got to getting out in it. And so yeah, my health has my I am not doing what I should be doing, but for reasons of injury, and then it's Christmas, and Christmas is I don't often see people in a social situation, so it's been a nice week. I caught up with some old friends.
Well, that's good. That makes it
Mm,
worth it.
it does indeed. So let's do a season review, shall we? Getting into it.
Okay, let's do it. It's quite exciting. I can't believe we've done 1,000 episodes. We haven't done 1,000 episodes.
No, this is episode 32, so we haven't
32.
done too badly. Now, I think
Cool,
what
that's my age.
we should
Oh, it's funny because it's not true. Oh, I wish I were 32. God, I'd be well young.
So let's have a peek behind the curtain. Because
All
when we
right.
decided to start this podcast, we weren't quite sure how the format was going to go, did we? So we did a bit of a trailer. We released the trailer on the 26th of April, 2023.
That was so
And
far away.
so long ago, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we went in and we thought we'd record episode one, didn't we? We thought we would so we episode one went quite well. It was just the
Yeah, it
two
was
of
all
us.
right.
We
Yeah.
summarized who we were, our backgrounds, and what the intention of the podcast was going to be. We kind of plotted that and recorded it and released it.
Didn't we do didn't we interview each other a
Yeah,
little bit on that one?
pretty
Yeah.
pretty much. It was like a
So that people could get to know us.
yeah, understand who we were. And so we were like, well, that went quite well. Let's do episode 2 and let's just have a chat about the importance of getting out in it. And
That was
it went to shit, didn't it?
it was really bad. Yeah, luckily, we decided for the rest of time that we would have guests because
Yes.
because that second episode was really bad.
It was
It was
painful. It was
it was a bit
painful
of a
to
car
try and
crash.
record. Yeah, it was an embarrassing car crash that I'm glad I've deleted all traces of because we finished recording it and we're like, I don't think that was very good. Well, about a couple of hours went by, didn't it? And you rang me and said, I don't think that was very good. And I was like, no, no, I also am haunted by what just happened to us. So we made a decision there and then to delete that entirely and get ourselves a guest on for episode 2. And we had Adelaide
Mm.
Goodeve on, who is
Our
a
very, very, very first guest.
very
Yeah.
first guest, who's a mindset coach. And that I think set the tone for the rest of the season, really, because we found a groove then. We sectioned the podcast up into the various sections we've got, and then the guest in the middle to discuss them, their raison d'etre, and like what important things about them they could talk about being outside and movement and health and well-being, and it works quite well.
And I liked I think Adelaide was a fascinating person to have as our first guest because she kind of we did a thing live on air. Well, I mean obviously it was recorded, but she did like a thing on me
She
on that
did.
episode. Yeah,
She
she kind
did.
of coached me through a little thing that I get stuck on sometimes when I'm doing long runs. Like I'm quite anxious anyway. That's my personality. And every now and then I have bouts of anxiety when I'm out on my long runs, where I somehow manage to convince myself that I'm gonna, for whatever reason, not make it back home that day. And sometimes that can get me a little bit stuck. And she unstuck me, and it was really fascinating.
And it worked.
It did, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I've had no issues since that episode with her, which was quite fascinating.
absolutely. I think she is a very good orator, you know. She speaks very nicely
An
when
orator.
orator, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, orator. Orator. Same word, just a slightly different emphasis in the wrong place. It's like a cashew nut, isn't it?
Bad pronunciation.
Um, yeah, and so I think she gets her message across very nicely. And and it's always good to have somebody on who can really talk a good game. And that's
Mm.
kind of what podcasting's about, isn't it? Finding those personalities that you can prize that real gold out of them.
Yeah, and I think it was a really, really good she was a really good one to have on as our first guest because I imagine that there are plenty of people out there who fancy the idea of doing something a bit more active outdoors, but for whatever reason, they're convincing themselves that they can't do it. And so in that first episode, well, the first episode with a guest,
Mm,
um, we hopefully managed to convince people that they can talk themselves out of those negative mindsets and get out there and enjoy the fresh air.
absolutely. I think it really did set the tone, didn't it, for what we were trying to achieve, which was
Yeah,
getting people to a place where they could deconstruct the barriers in their own mind that are keeping them from just trying a bit more activity and a bit more exercise and adventure. It doesn't even have to be adventure.
absolutely.
Could just
Yes.
be going for a walk. And then we had DTD, friend of both my podcasts, on as our second guest and professional triathlon coach extraordinaire.
Mm,
And he took us through some interesting topics.
he did. Yes. What did we talk about with DTT? I
We
can't say that.
talked
DTD, David Dilby.
David
David, I
Tilbury
can't say.
Davis. Well, I mean, he was talking about starting exercise, really, wasn't he? And when the importance of strength work was in there because I love a bit of that.
Oh, fucking
Um,
strength work. Yeah.
yeah. And he talked about how, you know, how simple it is really to get moving because a lot of the online fitness coaches and a lot of the internet chatter will have you think that there's a complexity to it. There's a level of complexity to starting to train that really isn't there and doesn't exist because you don't have to be tied to the latest gadgets, tied to the latest tech or the latest science. You can just start moving and see where that takes you. And I think that was the
Mm.
really interesting message to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was quite funny as well. I think we've been really lucky with all of our guests. They've all been really nice people.
Apart from episode four's guest, who was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, Mr. Tim Ford.
Yeah, yeah.
We love Tim.
Yeah, no, Tim has got one of the most interesting stories from a
I love his
amateur
story.
athlete's perspective, I think, because not only has he conquered the demons that plagued him and made him sort of feel made him unhealthy, unfit, very, very large human being he was at one point. He managed to get over that, but not only that, he now works as a professional in the sport that transformed not as an athlete, but as a agent, manager, professional entity within the sport that he used to transform his life. And I think there's something very remarkable about that.
Yeah, totally. His story is it was oof. Yeah, it's quite emotional listening to his story. I can't imagine it's easy to relive those moments. But yeah, loved his story. And he's also quite funny. Do love the Australians. But I also remember while we were recording that episode, my fucking cat was absolutely just eating my legs. It was really bad.
No
Yeah.
longer a problem. No longer a problem.
I know, it makes me quite sad.
I'm um I'm a little paranoid at the moment that I'm gonna soon have a nice looking guitar hanging somewhere in that flat, and that's going to be out of bounds for the scratching.
On the months when it's my turn to look after the cat, um, yeah, you'll probably have to find somewhere else to keep that guitar because
We'll put it in its
Bilbo
box
does what
in
he
this
does.
in the storage room because if he scratched that,
Yeah.
I'd murder him, I think,
Yeah.
and then you'd murder me,
No.
and then like
Yeah.
everybody would be, I'd be dead, he'd be dead, you'd be in jail. Brilliant. So
This this is taking a really weird dark turn.
So you pick a
Thanks,
guest
Tim.
now. We
It's
were going
Tim's
to do
fault.
this. We were going to take it in turns to pick an interesting guest that we'd had. So proceed up the list. Who's your next?
Okay, so love Tim Ford. Oh yeah, and then actually straight after Tim Ford, we had Car Crash Cat,
We did. Car
who
Crash Cat telling
also
us,
had
yeah,
an amazing story of bouncing back after a mental injury, which literally was a car crash.
it was indeed. That has
Yeah.
that incident that named her ever since.
Yeah. And oh, blimey. To because didn't she like straight after she got run over by a car? Well, she didn't get run over, she smashed into a car, or a car smashed into her when she was on her bike. And then she did an Ironman.
Yeah, it was like a few months later.
Yeah, mental,
Mm,
mental.
yeah. So not only was it a story of physical recovery, but hers is more about that mental game that she played because while she had
Mm,
that Iron Man race to focus on, it gave her that sort of impetus to keep going. I think it was after she'd completed the Iron Man that the gravity of what happened hit her.
yeah.
And then she really struggled from then on to get over the accident.
But since then, she's done all sorts of
Oh
crazy
yeah,
stuff. She's quite the adventurer.
she's fucking everywhere all the time
Yeah,
doing stuff.
amazing,
Yeah.
quite amazing. So it was quite an honor to have a chat with her and have her tell her story as well. That was ah, what a bounce back, mental.
I mean, it sounds like I'm listing them in order, but we are gonna we are going to skip a few, but after Cat, we had Lloyd, and I really enjoyed that chat because he's probably one of the most prolific YouTube trail running and running advocates out there. From just down the road from me in Cornwall, and he came on and joined us
Hmm.
and talked about his love for the trails, his love for the outdoor, where his what the inception of his YouTube channel was, and what drives him now
Mm.
to keep trying new things and going on new adventures. And I really enjoyed talking to him.
Yeah, and he gave me some cool tips on how to how to cope with the downhills because just before he came on, you and I were out running somewhere in the Monts, and I took a bit of a tumble
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And yeah, and ever since it's a little bit better now, but before Lloyd came on and gave me some tips and tricks on how to do the downhills, I was a little bit scared of the downhills. It was taking me longer to go downhill than it was to go uphill for a while there, because kind of shook my confidence a little bit. But he gave me some tips on how to overcome those fears. So yeah,
One thing that I'm not
I'm
happy
still not
about,
I'm
though,
still not very fast.
one
What?
thing I'm not happy about with Lloyd's appearance, though, he is responsible for us having Oasis on our playlist, and that ain't my jam, Lloyd. That ain't my jam, mate.
Yeah. It's not my favorite band. It's not my
No,
favorite band.
no,
No.
no. Gutted I was.
No.
Gutted I was.
And he seemed like such a nice guy up until that point.
Who's next for you?
Yeah. Um okay. Ooh, all right. Again, I've just seen her name and she is next in the list, but we've actually had her on twice on the pod. And
Problem we've
it's
got
our
is all of
great
our
mate
guests were so
Zoe.
good that we're struggling to skip
They're
any
all so
in this
good.
season review.
We are struggling to skip any. But Zoe came on twice.
She
She
did.
came on pre Ironman Switzerland and post Ironman Switzerland. And I actually quite enjoyed that. I don't know what you would call that, that kind of
Dichotomy.
double entendre. No, she's not a double entendre, but I like that kind of double episode thing, like a
Mm,
before and after, or a pre and a post, or I'm not too sure. But yeah, that was really, really interesting to hear how she was getting ready for that huge race, and the psychology of it for her and what that race meant to her. And then having her back on a few months later to talk about how it went. And
mm,
didn't go according to plan, but that conversation with her talking about the Ironman that hadn't gone according to her plans and her wishes really, really helped me with my DNF of the UTBB.
mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, and also
I love that, Zoe.
how she's gone from that um DNF that she had, and out of the flames of defeat, she's come up with a plan that I think will be a much more her type event when she does it. And it will be a really
Yeah,
powerful moment when she finishes that Ironman in New Zealand, crosses the line and her dad and her family are there.
yeah.
And it will be quite the moment. So I think there's a silver lining in these things sometimes, and the world saying, no, no, this wasn't where you were meant to do your Ironman. You're meant to go and do it in
Mm.
New Zealand.
Because that's in
Right.
2025, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think she should definitely come back on and talk to us about
Yeah,
that.
well,
Then we'll just follow Zoe throughout the rest of her
we'll
life.
do that one in person, eh?
Yes, in New Zealand. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be super fucking cool. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, I love Zoe. I've got a lot of time for her. She's fucking awesome, and she's also really funny to talk to. She's just, I love her accent, and yeah, she's got quite the sharp sense of humor. So yeah, we love Zoe.
Then
Who's next for you?
I'm gonna go to John Galloway. Who the fuck is John?
Who the fuck is John? Too many Johns, and not the right person called John.
Not the right person called John, but we had
Who was the man I called John? And that wasn't it wasn't
it
John.
was Mark, Mark and Jen.
Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mark and Jen. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So we had John Galloway on, who is a podcaster I've listened to. I had listened to for maybe 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, however long they did the Velocast. And
He's the guy who's gonna cycle across China. No, cycle to China.
yeah, so
Yeah.
he was a pundit in the pro cycling world, and he was someone that I'd listened to weekly for most of my adult life, listening to his comments about the pro cycling world, and then it transpired that he is at the age of 60 training to cycle from Scotland to China to see his son, his son's partner who live out there, and I absolutely dig that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think we also found out on the podcast that his son lives near where I used to live when I lived in
Yep,
China, which
yep,
was mental.
yeah. And I mean, he's just a great example of how age isn't a barrier.
Yeah.
Age is really something that steers you towards a certain type of training or a certain methodology to get you across the line.
I
You can't do what you were doing when you were 20 or 30. What you
yeah.
can do is design your training with advice around your capabilities and get the best out of yourself.
Yeah, I really liked that piece of advice he gave about saying, he when he first tried to get back into training, he was trying to do it as he did when he was 40. But then he was like, but I'm not 40, I'm 60. I have to change. And I was like, that's really, really interesting. Because I think a lot of people, especially perhaps if they used to do a lot of sports when they were younger, and then, then they stopped, had kids, had family, did jobs, whatever, and then try to go straight back to what they were doing before and then get disheartened because they can't and then just stop again.
Mm,
So I thought that was a really, really essential piece of advice for everyone. That
I agree wholeheartedly. Choose the next person, please.
oh, okay. Let's have a look. Who have we got? Um, Mark and Jen Lewis, maybe.
Who the fuck is Jen? No, who the fuck is
Mark and
John?
John. They were funny. They were such a funny couple. I love them because Mark is so fucking almost he's so frank that he's borderline rude but amusing.
Yeah,
And Jen is just like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I love their dynamic. It's hilarious because they're quite like that on their YouTube channel as well,
they
which
are very popular YouTubers. Mark has
mm,
built a solid channel with the assistance of Jen, and I do like what I like about his approach and their approach is it's very much, you know, I'm not a coach. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm doing this for your entertainment. Be entertained. Are you not entertained? But don't come to me for all the answers. And I like that because that's refreshing. He's not doing what a lot of YouTubers will do, which is build up a following, then try and flog training plans or, and it is solely, I would say, informed entertainment. He recently did a video which I loved where he raced the world's fastest under 14 um, park runner for 5K and got absolutely crucified by this 13-year-old kid. And it was brilliant.
didn't he also do another one
The kid
where
lapped him.
yeah, but wasn't didn't he also do another video? This was a little bit a few weeks ago where he was trying to beat the world park run record, but he was doing it kind of
Well, in the age
kilometer
categories.
kilometer. Yeah,
Oh
no.
yeah.
He was
Yeah, no, I saw that one.
somebody had run it in like I don't know 5 seconds or whatever. So he was trying to do every kilometer at
Mm,
the same pace or faster, and it took him all day to do it because he couldn't do it all at once. And he was absolutely fucked by the end of it. And I thought that was hilarious.
indeed. And they're nice,
Like,
concise, bite-sized little videos. And it takes some of the seriousness out of it sometimes, which I enjoy because we in the health, fitness, and well-being world, it can get a little bit intense sometimes, a little bit judgy and a little bit like my way's the only way. And
mm,
he's got a real sort of no, my way's my way. You do what you want to do,
you
but
find your
just
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
just enjoy watching me capitulate a lot of the time at different challenges.
He really puts himself through some stuff. It is very entertaining. But while we're on the subject of parkrun, I think we might have missed Chrissy Wellington, who was also a really interesting guest.
Yeah,
I liked talking to her about parkrun
incredible
because parkrun is
triathlete,
such a brilliant idea, and we
incredible
can't get it in
triathlete,
France.
and part of the parkrun organization.
Mm,
She's gone on from a stellar career where she's probably arguably one of the greatest the triathlon world's ever seen to now being part of something that fuels movement for so many people across the world.
mm.
And yeah, I've got a lot of time for that. And I really enjoyed that conversation. As you know, I'd interviewed her before for my other podcast, but I was very excited to have her on again and have a chat.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to her just about the parkrun stuff and not all of her. I mean, she's obviously had a super stellar career. I didn't know her I don't follow triathlon, so I didn't know that she was this big superstar triathlete. But just after she came, no, just before she came on,
Mm.
hadn't she gone somewhere and like randomly won a trail race?
Yeah, she won a trail race randomly, and just before she came on, she
Yeah,
just she just
ultra. It
had
was an ultra.
yeah, and she just had
Was it an
the
ultra? Yeah.
Yes, and she just had the course record taken off her by Daniela Reef just before she came on. I
Oh
remember,
yeah,
so
that's
I had to ask her opinion
right.
on that, and we cut that bit out. We used it on ours, but we also cut that bit out to use on my triathlon podcast, which was quite good fun.
Mm, yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah. So she was really cool.
you just picked two in a row, so I'm gonna pick one now.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for Frank Schauer. I enjoyed him a lot. Frank is a funny man. I liked his company at the sub 7, sub 8 event. He amuses me, and he's a really friendly, really upbeat German bloke. And I love the fact that he'd tried Coke when training, but he'd forgotten to let it go flat, so it went all over his face.
Yeah. Oh, Frank. Yeah, he was good fun. He was a lot of fun. I do think he should do more trail running though. But he does fucking hell, his
He's off
training.
he's off to do like 100-mile races now, don't he? But like
Yeah,
road
doesn't he want
running,
to do like,
loops.
yeah, doesn't he want to be like the fastest 100 miler? But like the race he was talking about, which I can't remember when he said he was going to do it now. But anyway, it wasn't the race that he was talking about. It was just like it was a 100 miler or a
Yeah,
hundred
loops.
K'er,
Loops of a
but it was a loop.
5K or something.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Because like when I have to do well, I don't do it anymore because I don't live near the park anymore. But when I used to do my speed works on a Tuesday, I'd go down the park because it was the flattest part of the village. And I'd just be running around this fucking park and it would do my head in. And that was only for like 30 minutes.
Mm.
Couldn't do it for 100 Ks. Nah, mental. Absolutely mental.
Pick another then. Pick another.
Pick another. Okay, who have we got? Um, that's got to be Daisy, no?
Yeah, Daisy
Our
was
great
cracking.
mate Daisy.
Daisy was cracking, and she's still trying to fix
Yeah.
my old broken body.
And we did that one live in person. It was the first ever in person podcast that we've ever done.
It absolutely was. And we provided
Yeah,
vegan cakes as well, didn't we?
we did. Yeah. It was super swish, super fancy.
Daisy, I enjoyed that chat a lot because my belief system around how important strength work is, she completely validates that for me. But she also,
Mm.
she came from an angle of it doesn't have to be 3 times a week every week forever, which is my philosophy. But you can incorporate some yoga into that to be one of your strength sessions or one of your sports in the park sessions to be a strength session, and then just do like a strength session to supplement that. Um,
Yeah, I loved her for saying that because I was trying to squeeze in 2 or 3 strength sessions every week, but always phoning them in and not getting them done and then feeling really super guilty. And then she said, no, your yoga session counts as one strength session. Your hit session in the park counts as one session. So you only really need to do another one with weights. And I was like, fuck, yes.
and now and now you've completely dropped strength entirely, haven't you?
I completely dropped it.
Yeah.
I haven't done any this month. Um, and in my defense, though, in this new flat, my what would you call it? Like my setup with the thingy where I put the weights on. What do you call those things? The racks.
Yeah, the racks, yeah.
The weight racks and all the weights won't. There's not enough room inside to keep them, so I keep them outside on the balcony. And it's just too rainy. It's too rainy to go outside and throw weights around. I would slip and die. So I haven't done any. I think I did 1 or 2 sessions, maybe 4 or 5 or 2 or 3 in November.
Fair enough. So
I did some. Yeah.
my next pick is going to be Ben and Mary from This Messy Happy because
I
simply because of how enthusiastic and
love them so
excited
much.
you were to have them on.
I love them so much.
Yeah, I mean they are incredibly popular YouTubers. They've got a really informative, interesting, useful YouTube channel for anybody out there who wants to be a runner. They cover a breadth of things, including their own challenges, their own adventures, but the importance of strength training, the importance of consistent training, how to do lots of how-to videos and how to cope with this and how to cope with that and what to do if you it's just they cover a lot, and it was really, not only are they very informative but incredibly personable.
They're really nice. They're my favorite people, and it was it was so cool. having a chat with them. And it was also really weird seeing them on my screen, which is where I normally see them because I watch them on YouTube, but then like talking to them and have them talk back. Because I often talk to them on YouTube. I chat away while I watch while I watch TV. But yeah, having them talk back was mind blowing. It was so cool. It was very, very cool. I love them. And Mary is my straight up icon. I think she's extraordinary. Ah, oh, she's so cool. And she's so dedicated to running. And she does so many amazing things. And she's always smashing her PBs. And it's just like, I love her. Yeah.
Your new
Absolute
picking
love
next.
fest. Okay. Who have we got next? Next. Hmm. I feel like, well, my next, okay, I'm going to talk about my other my other massive crush. I'm going to talk about Sabs. I've missed a whole bunch, so maybe when you pick another one, you can go back and pick some of the ones I missed. But seeing as we're talking about people I crush on, Sabs
Yeah,
is
she
another
was great when
person
she came
out of
on
the
and
show.
took us.
She was brilliant. Yeah.
It was a really interesting, really detailed chat and quite emotional in parts.
Mm. Yeah. Because I mentioned on the pod that I heard about her because there's another running podcast I listen to called Women's Running, and she was a guest on there, and she was talking about her book and the races that she'd done. So I bought her book straight after I heard that episode and read that book, and it was really oof, that's a tough read.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
really
really,
is a
really,
tough.
really tough
I
read.
mean, I listened to it on audiobook and it really was a tough listen.
Yeah. Because she grew up as the only person of color in a very, very, very white rural British village. And so the whole book is about the journey that she'd gone on from childhood to where she is now, which is a monumental ultra runner. And she's isn't she like nips deep in a crazy race at the
Yeah,
moment?
she's doing a 200-mile
200,
race as we
200 miler
record.
at the moment. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. I would love to be able to have her strength, physical and mental, I think, because she's overcome a fuck ton of stuff. And she's still, overcoming stuff. Inspiration. Yeah, so that was another crazy, crazy fun podcast to do with somebody else that I absolutely adore.
Yeah, and then I'm going to group these two together, not because they were very similar, but because they were week after each other. We had Ruth Mack, who was specialized in helping women understand aging and fitness and strength and navigating, getting healthier. And then we had followed her with Taryn Richardson, who was a dietitian specializing in nutrition for triathletes, endurance athletes. And they were both, I thought that those two episodes complemented each other quite nicely on that little 2 week run.
Mm. Yeah, because I think one thing that's become fairly apparent throughout this season is I'm not great at fueling myself.
No,
Like
yeah.
I love food. I love food and I love eating. And that's not the issue. My issue is during long runs and post long runs. I'm not great at the moment at sorting my fueling out when I've just done long stuff. So yeah, I needed those two ladies to come into my life and say, sort your shit out, love.
Do
Yeah.
you think it's helped? I mean, do you understand the importance and seriousness of fueling now? And are you going to change your ways?
I do. And I go through weird like I can go for a couple of weeks and be like really, really on it. And then one day I'll forget something. Like maybe to take my creatine or something like that. And then it'll be like days have gone by and it's like, fuck, I haven't taken any creatine this week. Shit. It's not just that either. It's also my hormones and stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
really bad at remembering. So that these things that I should be doing on a daily basis, I have moments where I just completely forget everything, and then it's days, and I'm like, oh, fucked it bad.
I mean, just just I know that with nutrition, we're talking more about fueling, training, and events and things. But with just on the creatine topic, being you mentioned it, as long as you take creatine consistently enough, then you've saturated your muscles with creatine, and missing a couple of days here and there isn't the end of the world. You just start taking it again, and it
Yeah.
because what you do is you get your body up, you top your system up to a certain level, and you're just keeping it there.
I have noticed, excuse me, I have noticed that if my training schedule changes, and it's normally because I've changed it because the weather's been a bit shit or whatever, then my memory of doing stuff like taking creatine or whatever also kind of goes out the window because I
That
tie all of
just
those.
shows the importance of routine, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I was really really on it, but then it's my fueling and everything has been a bit. I haven't been taking my protein shake things. Oh, it's just gone all out the window since I moved.
Yeah, but that routine will return because at the moment
Yeah.
you're establishing a new routine, and the first most important thing you've got to do when you're establishing a new routine is understand the important basic day-to-day things you have to do. Living, working, surviving, shopping, all those sort of things, and how the week is formatted with this new location you're in.
Mm.
Once you've got all that and you that's all subconscious now. Once you've got that to a point where you don't have to think about it anymore because it's just what you do, then that's when your brain will have time to add in the little micro details that you sprinkle in around life to make it a bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, it was an interesting thing. And I think these are the kind of guests that we have to keep having on regularly because I'm one of those people that needs to be constantly reminded about stuff like nutrition and fueling and and the importance of keeping that going when you're doing quite a lot of training. I mean, I suppose the good thing is at the moment is it's the deep midwinter and I'm not training for any races at the moment because my first race isn't going to be until the beginning of March. So at the moment my training is just what do you call it? Maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah.
Maintenance. Um so I don't feel too bad about forgetting to take my protein milkshake thingies after I've done a workout. Um but yeah, absolute fucking nightmare. We need to have constant guests like like Ruth and Taryn come on so that they can keep saying, just fucking take your protein, bitch.
Choose one.
Oh, my turn again. Who else did we have that I really liked? Um, ah, Andrew Horse. We had people with weird names as
Andrew
well.
Horsfall Turner.
Andrew Horsfall Turner. Yes, he was a lovely chap, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and he was
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, he's a pro athlete, he's a pro triathlete. He's a friend of mine, someone I work with. He has got a very new baby. He was talking us through the intricacies of what it's like to have a young family whilst also trying to maintain the drive to be a pro athlete and also just the
Mm.
journey to being a pro athlete. It was quite interesting. It was a little bit of a departure from what we're used to, but I enjoyed that chat a lot.
Yeah, I liked it because it was interesting to know how somebody who obviously he's a pro athlete, so he need like training is his job,
Hmm.
basically. But and I know that, you, me, the majority of people listening aren't pros. But what was interesting about that conversation is, yes, even if you do have a new child, a new baby, or you're starting a family and all that kind of stuff, you don't have to sacrifice training if you want to have a new family or start a new job or whatever. I thought that that was quite an interesting convo.
Agreed. Agreed. One that a lot of people will benefit from.
Mm.
Um, so the last one that I'm going to mention is when we had Anna Danby on from the Fort William Mountain Festival. I thought that was cracking because
Yeah.
again a bit of a departure from what we were used to, but we wanted to talk to them about what they've got happening and the importance of that festival to the local community, but also what's there for people to come and experience it and be involved. And yeah, I really enjoyed that conversation. I especially loved the sort of interactivity of that festival.
Mm,
You know, you go and you don't just listen, you listen, you learn about stuff, and then they take you out to experience it.
yeah. And also, because like everybody knows now, I've only been running for a couple of years. I haven't always been sporty. That's only arrived in my, what would we call these? My autumn years, my twilight years, my old age years. It's been a new thing for me. And what's been really, really fascinating over the last couple of years, um, I didn't know there was so much stuff that you could do outdoors, like winter mountain festivals and shit. That was such discovery for me. And I think because I understand there are plenty of people who are like, ugh, don't want to go running, don't want to go cycling, don't want to go fucking, I don't know, what was that thing that weird sport that guy, another fucking John, the swim run guy, another John. So I can imagine that there are plenty of people going, no, that doesn't take my fancy, that doesn't take my fancy. But there's so many things out there that you can do. And going to a festival to learn about a bunch of stuff, it's fucking genius.
In a beautiful place,
Yeah.
surrounded by incredible scenery and
Mm.
mountains and opportunities, and also the emphasis being not solely on exercise, but on inspiration. You know, it was you get out trekking, get out hiking, get out mountain running, get out snow booting or whatever the fuck. But you could also just get out and be inspired by a mountain to paint a picture or write a poem or tell a
Yeah.
story or
Yeah.
sing a
Yeah. Yeah.
song. And I love
That,
that.
that was really cool. It's like combining creativity and physical activity. It's fucking genius. Put those two together because you create better if you move around a bit.
So
if
that
I'm
I
if I'm having a bit of a writer's block moment and I can't get my shit together to finish a chapter or start a new book or whatever, I go for a hike or a run, and then by the time I get back, all that blood is in my brain. Fireworks.
There
True
you
story.
go.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's got us to the end of our list. So the last episode we did was about surviving winter training
Ah, we did. Yeah, that was our last one. Yeah.
on the 27th of November, which was some time ago now.
It's fucking ages ago.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's important for both of us to pay tribute to all of our guests that we've had on. It's been an absolute pleasure this
Yeah.
season having such a range of interesting people to talk to. Um, it's been informative and interesting, challenging at times, but there's nothing wrong with being a bit challenged.
Absolutely not. We've been super lucky, and I'm genuinely astonished that we've had all these people who've come on have been amazing, and they're all, I don't know, they've got so much knowledge about their specific areas, and they came on and talked to us, like little old us on our little old Get Out on It podcast, and I just feel very privileged, very very
Yes.
privileged this year. It's been quite extraordinary, and I'm very very excited for 2024 and the peeps that we're going to have on next year for season two.
Before we get into season two, I do
Yes.
want to take a moment to pay tribute to my awesome co-host as well.
Who's
It's
that?
been That's you.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a real pleasure this year building this
Oh,
building this little journey with you, and
thanks.
it's been something I've looked forward to each week.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been good fun. I do remember when we started talking about this, and I am not super social, and I have issues with anxiety, and the concept of doing something that was very, very public was absolutely shitbrickingly nerve-wracking for me. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been super, super fucking cool. So yeah.
Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Now, 2024 is coming, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
2024 is going to be
Imminent.
season two. It's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
revamp, the comeback, the relaunch. We're going to have new things. We're going to have shiny things. We're going to have stuff you can play with. Come and join us.
What stuff can people play with?
I don't know. Schmerbers.
Schmerbers. Fucking schmerbers. I see them as conkers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't,
But yeah,
I cannot now stand on a conker when I'm on a trail because I feel like I'm killing a schmerber. Yeah. Can't do it.
so yeah, 2024, we're going to relaunch probably mid-January sometime.
Okay, doke.
And we are going to have a range of new guests. We may have some returning guests, but we're going to have a range of new guests, new topics. We're going to have a different, an alternative to the weekly roast because I feel like we've done enough coffees for a minute.
We've done a lot
And
of coffee,
we
although I've
might
enjoyed
tweak.
that because I
I
love
have as well.
coffee. Coffee
We
is my
might
jam.
we might tweak the format slightly, but yeah.
Mhm.
So the Get Out in It season 2 is gonna be all kinds of better. So do not go away for it. Do not take your eyes off the screen for a moment. Enjoy your Christmases though.
Yes, have a fun Christmas. Are we gonna do a weekly roast this week
Yeah, I've got a weekly
and a
roast.
song thing
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
well, we don't need to do a debrief.
We don't need to do debrief. We'll skip the debrief.
Okay.
So we'll go straight into the weekly roast, shall we?
Yes. The weekly roast. Is that it?
Now I thought I would pick my favorite coffee maker of the season to be the
Ooh,
weekly roast for this
that's a
week.
good idea.
And I went with Coaltown Coffee for the one from Andrew Horsfall Turner's
Cold
episode, which
down. Yes.
was to revigorate the local community after the coal.
Reinvigorate.
Reinvigorate,
Reinvigorate. Yeah.
yeah, reinvigorate. That's what I said, wasn't it?
No, you said revigorate.
Ah, well, yeah, fuck it, move on, it'll be all right. Reinvigorate the local community after the exodus of the coal industry from that part of the world, and I thought that was um, a really important mission that they're on.
Mm.
So I went on their website and I thought, you know what? I reckon they'll have some sort of specialist Christmas coffee.
Oh, I
And
bet they do.
they've got a coffee called Deep Winter. And
Ooh.
they say, as we all wake up to darker mornings, drizzle in the air, and crisp, frosty days on the horizon, it's now time to warm up our daily routines and combat the winter blues. Deep Winter is back. We are super excited to present this year's release of Deep Winter that has been meticulously profiled to create warming, nostalgic, festive notes of dark chocolate, stewed apple, and cinder toffee. The
Ooh.
coffee is grown, harvested, and processed at a farm. Ripe red cherries are harvested, then dried on patios for 7 to 10 days. The coffee is delicately and efficiently turned to facilitate optimized fermentation. And once dried, the coffee is then ground and roasted.
That sounds lush. I fucking love cinder toffee.
So do I. So do I.
Ah,
So yeah,
oh,
that's they've won Coffee of the Year award, I
good for
think.
them.
The Get Out in It Coffee of the Year award goes to Coaltown Coffee from the Andrew Horsfall Turner episode, which is episode 28.
Nice.
And
I concur.
what is our weekly roast going to be next year? Because it can't be a coffee again, is it? What are we going to do? Like
I
a
don't
craft
know.
ale or something?
Yeah, well, we can't call it the weekly roast if we're going to choose a different drink.
No.
But I don't know. Maybe if any of the listeners have any ideas what they'd like to have in place of the weekly roast, or maybe the weekly roast could be us actually roasting people from our lives, like like the way a roast is supposed to be. Like you sitting on your couch, get the fuck up, get the fuck out in it. You,
the it could be weekly craft ale, the weekly mash, or it could be
mate, I'm never gonna drink that much fucking beer. I'm not gonna drink
no.
beer a week.
What about we'll have a think. We'll have a
We'll have a
think
think.
off
Yeah.
season and we'll be back with with an alternative. Now, it's time to be honest, isn't it?
The let's be honest segmentazione. Yes, of course.
Let's be honest.
Okay, shall I go first?
Are we?
All right. This past fortnight, I've complained a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I have been very, 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 very fucking whingy because the weather's been shit. Like, oh man, fucking climate change gets right on my tits. Like, this time of year is supposed to be very, very, very crisp and dry and cold and nice. It's been so fucking rainy. We're not supposed to have this much fucking rain here at this time of year. And it's been non-stop. And I am sick of riding my bike in it. That's it. That's me being honest. I'm sick of riding my fucking bike in the fucking rain. Can't do
Yeah,
it. It's
that's the problem.
fucking rubbish. And
The
while I'm on it, French drivers can get to fuck. I fucking hate them. They're so aggressive. They're so aggressive.
mm,
France, if you're listening, sort your fucking drivers out. They're very dangerous.
mm,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, yes, yes. Well, I hear that. It's not fun riding in the rain. It's
It's
not
really
fun
not.
being beat at by
It's not.
people who don't have a soul.
No, they're so aggressive. I've had a lot of verbal and beeple abuse. Beeple? Beepy.
Yeah.
Beepy abuse. Klaxon abuse. Verbal abuse.
I don't
Oh,
really know where someone gets off because it'll be men, when it.
probably. Yeah.
Where do they get off shouting at a woman on a bike?
Fuck
Like,
knows.
what's wrong
Yeah.
with you? What's wrong
Yeah.
with you?
They're all bastards. What a bunch of bastards. So that's my main gripe. But I also feel like I haven't been doing the training. Everything just feels fucked up at the
You've
moment.
been doing a lot of training. You've been doing very well. Don't let that enter your mind.
Okay, maybe it's just because I'm in a different place and I don't know where I'm going and all the trails are different and
Mm.
I don't know where I am. But
I think you've done a
yeah,
particularly good job in the last few weeks of picking up your training after you moved.
thanks. But it does feel like everything's a bit too up in the air and I've dropped all of the balls and they've all slid down the hill and I can't find them and I keep trying to like run after them and pick them back up and then one pops out of my arm again and it's like, oh fuck, and I have to run after that one and oh, it's mental. Yeah, it's been mental. I think I think moving at the end of the year, I shouldn't have done it. I should have waited until the new year. So I started in a new place in the new year and it would have felt a bit more aligned in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm
And
a
that
little
rhymed
bit,
as well.
it did. Yeah, I was quite proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Aligned in the
anyway.
mind makes me think of System of a Down for some reason.
I mean, it's done now, so you know it's fine. And this, my new little flat is super cute, and I am happy to be here. But yeah, it's been a weird fortnight, a very weird fortnight. I'm all over the place. What about you? What about your? Let's be honest.
Well, I'm just struggling with the hip. I'm struggling
Mm.
with being injured for. I've been injured since May.
It's the whole year now. It's
Yeah.
the entire first season run of Get Out in it.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, and it's mentally hard. Really, really hard, especially this time of year, because for the rest of the time I've managed to be really healthy and keep myself just on this stay healthy, don't eat the wrong things. And now we're coming into Christmas and it's harder to do that this time of year. So
Yeah.
I'm not feeling very good about it all, but
No, and
I will.
you've just been on a 3 day bender.
Yeah, well, yeah, so to speak. So but I will pick this all back up. I need to get back on the I just needed to let the hip get better for a minute and get that acute pain down before I started putting some load through it. So now I'm going to start putting some load through it again and get back to doing the work that Daisy has prescribed me, and then start chipping away at some running and see if I can rebuild. I'm just really worried about my hip flexors. I don't know why they keep
Mm.
doing this. But I'll be back.
You will be back, and I don't think it's going to take as long for this other hip than the first one.
No, I don't think so.
No,
No. I
and I
think
think
I might need to address something in my running pattern, in my running technique, to deload those hip flexors a little bit and put
mm.
the emphasis elsewhere.
And you always go on about strength and stuff. I keep banging on about yoga, but honestly, I really think that might be something that could benefit you as well.
I will look into it. I might go down the
Yeah.
Pilates route.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's basically yoga. We had a question. Remember when we did our Q&A? Can't
Yeah,
remember when that was, but we did a Q&A and somebody asked about the difference between yoga and Pilates. And Pilates is the name of the person who invented Pilates. But basically, he took all of the movements and postures from yoga, but
yeah,
put them into much more of a sports thing because yoga is it's part of a full Hindu philosophy, whereas Pilates is just about the movement and focus on strength training the body. So yeah, Pilates. That'll do
There
ya.
you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at Pilates. I know somebody who teaches Pilates, Daisy's boss, who owns that clinic. So I
Oh,
might
well, that's handy.
look down that route and see if I can get myself a little bit
Yeah,
more flexible.
I think you need to. I think you'll
Yeah.
find those injury start start stopping. That sounds weird. That sounds like a very strange linguistic dichotomy. I think you'll find that those injuries start stopping the minute you start doing a little bit of Pilates. Yeah.
Shall we put some music on and forget about it?
Yes. Turn it up.
That'll probably do it.
I picked a Christmas one.
I thought you might have done, so I didn't. I was gonna, but then I thought there's no chance that you haven't picked a Christmas one. So I thought, well, I'm not gonna have two Christmas ones.
Aw, mate. Why not? It's the season. Tis the
Go on then.
fucking season.
What have you got?
I was gonna do a Christmas song for every single week of December, but the we missed the last couple because I moved house. But the song that is going on the Spotify playlist for the last time this year is by Prokofiev. And it's my favorite Christmas tune. It's an instrumental tune. It's Troika. It's the Troika tune by Prokofiev. Da da
Sounds.
da 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 da
Oh,
da
that one. Okay,
da
yeah.
da. I fucking love that. It's brilliant. I had that. I had all of the my favorite Christmas music playing in Sports in the Park on Friday.
And how did that go? How did that
I
go
was
down?
like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "I know, right? It's very cool." And they were all like, "No, what is this?" Because French people don't do Christmas songs as much as we do.
Do they not?
No, it's not really a thing.
See, I like all the cheesy pop ones.
I hate the fucking cheesy pop ones. No, the cheesy pop ones can get to fuck. I like the Christmas carols and the orchestral music like Troika. That's
You
my
know what my
jam.
favorite Christmas song is?
It's something shit and poppy.
Spaceman came traveling from light years away by
Sounds
Christopher.
shit. No,
Brilliant.
rubbish.
Or
Rubbish.
Driving Home for Christmas by Chris Rea.
Ah, that can get to fuck as well. Ugh. I was, right. Okay. All right. Sidebar for a very, very boring story, but I was so annoyed. This happened years ago. And because I live in France, and every Christmas I would always go back to the UK and visit my family. And this one year, a few years ago, pre-COVID, I was on a train from London to Bristol, which is where all my fam lives, and sitting on the train, and this guy gets on with, I don't know, some woman. I think they were father and daughter. And they would chat, 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 which is fine. You chat away. I was trying to read my book, but chat away, that's fine. But like every 2 or 3 minutes, he would suddenly go, driving home for Christmas, just in the middle of their conversation. And it was like, will you shut the fuck up? Like for 2 hours from London Paddington to Bristol Temple fucking Meads, their entire fucking conversation. And then every 2 or 3 minutes, this driving home for fucking Christmas thing. It's like just at least sing a different part of the song every time.
Did you not have a headphones?
No, I was trying to read a fucking book.
Oh, fucked it.
Ah, it was so frustrating. So I hate that fucking song. That guy ruined it for me. Ah, I'm so cheerful.
Good choice. We'll put that on the playlist. And what we're
Thanks.
going to do is sign
What?
off this playlist as season one, and we're going to have a new playlist for next season, aren't we?
Oh,
So
that makes sense, yeah, because
this
this one's
playlist
massive now.
it
What are
is
you putting
massive.
on this year to finish the year?
This week,
This week?
I'm putting on a song called Texas Flood from the 1983 album of the same name by Stevie Ray Vaughan because it's what I've been learning to play on the guitar this week.
Oh, blimey. So we've got one epic, awesome Christmas tune and then that blues thing.
One driving blues epic, like legendary number. And I sent you a little clip of me doing one of the licks, and
Yeah.
your response was, "Learn better fucking music." So the support there was really quite intense.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I said learn decent music.
Oh, it was a decent music. Yeah, learn some fucking decent music, I
Learn
think.
some decent fucking music. Uh
Stevie
Yeah.
Ray Vaughan being one of the greatest guitarists to have ever lived. But yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jolly good. Jolly good.
And that's it from us, isn't it?
I think that is the end of year wrap.
It's the end of year wrap. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think the last tribute we need to pay is to our audience. Thank you so much for listening
Yes.
this season with us. Thank you for coming on all the journeys we've been on, all the little interview adventures we've had, because without you, it would not be possible. And we thoroughly enjoyed it.
We have. It's been fun having everybody along to get out in it with us. Thank you very much. And come along next year and bring more people.
And have a great Christmas and a really happy New Year.
Happy Christmas and a happy new year.
Cheerio.
Bye bye bye.
Thanks for hitting the trails with us this week. We'll meet you back here next Monday for more news, more views, more nature.
All the links for our socials are in the show notes. Find and follow us on Facebook, Insta, YouTube, and Twitter. You can subscribe to our newsletter from our website for all the latest updates and camp plans. You get a fun free gift when you sign up.
Leave a review on your podcast app. It's really easy and really helps us out.
And if you've got any friends who could do with getting out in it, then bring them along to next week's outdoor adventure. We'd love to have you all with us.
Catch you next week. Cheerio.